So, are we live? Are we live? Here we go. Frank Valkyria, welcome to the channel. And I'm just gonna keep going talking as if I was making a normal video. Otherwise, for the people coming afterwards, once we finish the live and checking this live, they don't know what's going on. Here I am, an Italian in Amsterdam, and I'm gonna share my thoughts and my experience and how I feel on everything that is going on here in this period in Europe. I want to just exchange also thoughts, sharing whatever it's possible to share in terms of knowledge with my audience, so that we can also a little bit like help each other to feel a little bit more secure, I suppose, because I mean, honestly, in this period, as usual, the media, they're just, it's either like Trump or politics, or they have to jump into anything that seems like, zombie land. And it's unfortunate because like this, a ton of misinformation is spread and a ton of fear. And of course, the first reaction of human beings is always the one of reacting to keep safe, to look after yourself and the ones that you love. So the first reaction is a little bit of panic or panic. Let's address a little bit the guys in the chat here joining. Ciao Leo, ciao Juan, ciao Andres. We're talking a little bit of what's going on. If you guys in the chat are all from South America or Mexico or the US or North America, probably you start to feel a little bit what's going on. I was just saying that, as an Italian living in Amsterdam, in Italy, there has been this spread of the virus, and now it's having a moment of expansion. But it seems also that what we're seeing in China is that the numbers of new cases, they're decreasing. I have this website that I want to share with you guys, which gives all the numbers, and I think it's very important to truly have an oversight of what is going on here, because too quickly we get into a state of panic and we don't understand what's going on. We are 17 of us in the chat, so I shared this link with you. We're going to talk about this a little bit. Um, and after we can do whatever, like I just want to attract a little bit of your attention for a second, just to chit chat. Coffee in hand. Feel free also to ask me questions if you want. It's a free chat, so we can go over also other things. My concern as an Italian living in Amsterdam is that, people always behave like we already have done towards the Chinese. So I guess as soon as something comes from somewhere, there is that kind of anthropological fear, so to speak, where all of a sudden we all become xenophobes, and just at the expenses of science and knowledge. And in those cases, it's very important to keep relaxed and keep quiet, because otherwise we lose just sight of what it's true. So I don't know how feeling, and I don't know also the news in the States, how they are treating this thing, because I'm following a little bit the BBC, the Italian news around here, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's a little bit different too as well. Let's see, like teens five already. I'm here for the promised zombos. Yeah, like yeah, like we're just gonna turn all of us into zombies, I suppose. At least that's how the news are portraying this thing, and it's actually quite the contrary. From what we hear, um, 80+% of people which they get infected with the coronavirus actually have very little symptoms, and they recover on their own. We just, people, they just recover on their own without the help of anything. And that's an incredibly good news. Obviously, like I said also in the other video, I'm not trying to downplay this whole thing. I'm not trying to downplay what's going on. We have to look carefully into it, and we have to be just aware. We have to be aware, and also trying to follow as much as possible the official sources, scientists, doctors, which they're working on. They also specialized doctors working on this, which they understand, and they're doing their best to find a vaccine, to understand in which place to put this thing compared to other stuff that we have gone through in our, in our time, in our generation. So yeah, Manny, ciao Manny. Manny says here in the US, nobody's eating Chinese food. Yeah, it is ridiculous because as if, as if the food came from there or something. And that's what I'm saying. Like ignorance, it's bad, you know from what we hear, from what I've read, from what I'm following, a lot of doctors suggest that this being similar to other viruses, they're leaning towards believing that this thing stays on the surface for up to 6 hours and it dies. So that's also great news. Anything that it's cooked, anything that it's sanitized, should be fine, especially cooking stuff. Um, is it possible to stop Siri in mid-season? Um, what do you mean by that? By like sport or other events? What do you refer? Afnan. I don't know what you're referring to. But yes, I mean, I also understand that for the first reaction, people get a little bit like sort of upset. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, now we have to be careful. People don't go out less, and they stock up as if this thing would be like some kind of like like a dead sentence or something. And that's why I said also in the other video, it's so important to look at the numbers. It's so important to look at the numbers. I gave you this. There's the link here, wordometer, which you can check yourself, and it gives you a great insight. Like almost 54,000 cases, 94% recovered and discharged, and another 33,000 cases in mild condition. So this is really important. This is so incredibly important, to understand this, to see that this thing, like in China, there is less cases reported. There are other areas where they're increasing, of course, like Iran and South Korea, probably following a sort of spread. Also in Germany, the numbers are increasing, and in Spain. But yeah, like in France, they're not so much. Even though you wonder, like, yeah, you wonder how is that possible? Like a place where mostly it's like the most, like a city like Paris is probably, there is more tourism in Paris than in Italy almost, I suspect. So I also find it strange. But anyway, I'm just here also sharing with you guys a little bit. Um, I don't know, Manny. I don't know what's going on. Manny asked about football in Italy. It could be that for a week or two they stop. I heard that they're going to stop those big events. They're postponing some stuff, which in a way, like it is good because at least it slows down the percentage of people getting infected. So, like I was following this scientist that was part of the Italian government, and now she's in the U.S. working with, I don't know, like what kind of body or whatever, but they're working on this. And she was having an interview with Italian journalists on the main channel Rai Uno or something like that. And I really it was really nice to hear her talk, because she said, like, it's very important that we use the right words to describe what's going on here, because otherwise, that we immediately spread misinformation. I'm saying this part. And she said, like, this is there are viruses, there are many viruses which they cause flu like symptoms type of effect, and this is the case with this one. We don't have, like, people don't have and they're not immune to it, so that's why it's spreading so quickly. And the majority of people that die, they're over 65, the majority over 70, and some people also in their 60s. The majority of healthy people, that just basically recovers on their own. And funnily enough, kids, they have a very, very little percentage of being affected. And it seems the reason for it, from what I read so far, from what I'm getting, is that probably kids, because they fight already, their immune system is fighting a lot of colds, new colds. It's sort of already prepared to fight this, which is still this coronavirus is part of other coronaviruses. Is a sort of another iteration. So, and it seems that kids just don't get sick as much, or very little percentage, because they have a different immune system, or which they have an immune system which is already used to fight many colds, but they can spread the thing around even without symptoms. So we have to be careful. I really take that. But when people go in panic anywhere we are, like we just have to be careful. Sometimes, like when I see people panicking too much or just going nuts, don't going out, don't doing this, don't doing that, I'm like, okay, let's get over with this. Like I gotta get it. Okay, let's get this freaking thing. Let's go through it. Like you got a flu or something, and let's move on. Um, Instead of being afraid of everything, like especially this, the um, like the mortality for MERS and SARS was way higher. Anyway, we got to see. We have to see. But let's also not forget that so far 90 like what 97,000 people got affected overall. 96,000 people, maybe soon 97,000 people got affected. 3,300 died, and 53,000, 54,000 already recovered. There are like 39,000 cases still active, of which 33,000 in mild condition, which is 84%, and 6,421, 16% in serious or critical condition. So anyway, like I hope this graph, like really tells you a little bit of update of what's going on. In China, the new cases are decreasing, and like the majority of cases, 80,000 cases happen there, and there are only 160 new cases, which it's a great it's really a great it's a really great sign. And also in Italy, out of the 30,000, unfortunately in Italy 107 people died, all elderly people or sick. And then from the 3,000 people that got affected, already 276 recovered. There are still 295 in serious or critical condition, but immediately already there are 2,700 cases keeping under control so far. And hopefully, as soon as also, we have some days pass, like we will have more numbers of also in Italy. This is also the hope. We will have more people in Italy also recovering. So the potentially the number of people in the recovering phase increase everywhere, especially with the warmer climate. It seems that could be beneficial. So yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's already manis. The coronavirus already came. It's already everywhere, more or less, basically. So now it's just a matter to see how, what's the head, like how everything works in terms of like, okay, things, they always have a peak and then they have to even out. This has worked like this for any other things. So honestly, even though I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but like I don't think it's this is the time where this mutates into something else and we're all dead or something. Actually, matter of fact, I heard a few scientists saying like usually viruses, they can also change on their own and sort of deactivate themselves to a certain point, so like mutation can go very easily, or can go also in the direction of like the thing just self-erase itself, which is actually great news. So um let me go through a little bit the comments here. We have new people in the chat. We have many. We still have Tintin. We have Manis. We have Maggie Tang. So let's read a little bit of something here. Let's see. Well, like guys, from what I read, you need like a sanitizer with 60-70% alcohol in it, which is good for killing the germs and the virus. But let's not forget that viruses exposed to the air, they just die under UV light and a certain temperature. So you require like some kind of moist and whatever for the thing to survive. So I don't think it's an issue contact with things, especially if more than 5-6 hour passes. I think it should be safe. George Armani calling. Ciao. He says that or she says, George, sorry, that the virus is already in LA. Yes, I heard that. It's gonna be everywhere, like the flu. The problem with the media is that nobody spends time in reporting the cases of flu that every day happen everywhere around the world. And if they did, we'll be shocked also about the people dying from the normal flu. So, uh, let's not forget, I don't, like I said, I don't want to play this thing down. We are 7 billion on this planet. 90,000 plus people got affected by this thing, and already more than half of it survived. More than half of it already recovered. So we also have to put this into perspective, like it's 90,000 people, 50,000 people, for 54,000 recovered, and another 33,000 people are like with mild symptoms. So the I in a way I think that the measure that China took, it's really good so far, even though they're very stringent and a little bit like almost dystopian in terms of shutting out everything. But at least I think it's showing like it's slowing down of the spread so that people can recover. And also the same thing I was hearing yesterday from this Italian scientist living in the US, where she said, like, if we just make sure, like, we wash our hands, we avoid a little bit for a week or two, too crowded places, kissing and shaking hands, those kind of things. We give also the time for people affected to recover, and then it will become easier. Like, that 1% gets affected, then it heals, and then another 1% gets affected, then it heals, and like this, like, it spreads more like evenly, not overloading like medical facilities and all that kind of stuff. So that people can also work with this, and I think that is important because again, it's shown that it seems like that scientists in general, they don't seem too concerned in terms of like, we're all gonna die, like it's like a flu-like symptoms type of virus. I'm not saying this, I'm just repeating what I heard this Italian scientist say, but I don't think she's the only one saying that. From every doctor that I heard, it seems like um, yeah, we are freaking out a little bit too much. And again, the fault for that is of the media. The media is always responsible for this. It's always responsible for just enjoying sort of like the celebrity status of something, whether it's bad or good, and they just go along with it as much as they can. I mean, I've seen journalists in Italy and around like as if they were on the trenches of a freaking war. Like, we are here at the edge of the city where the police is patrolling the people coming in and out, and the sensation of, and I'm like, wow, come on, seriously, like this is like puts everybody in a freaking panic. Everything shuts down, and then like like people with businesses which rely on work, like who's going to take care of them? You know what I mean? Let's there is such a fragile equilibrium to keep everything running, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's I'm also curious to hear what's going on with you guys. um let's see, Maggie. Yeah, the SARS was. I think the SARS, Maggie, was more infectious. Actually, it is more infectious. Was more infection. Also the MERS. But the thing is that it spread way. Like, if I'm not mistaken, it made less people sick. Let's see. MERS mortality. Let's see what it's gonna say here. Um, yeah. Ta-da-da-da. 858 dead associated have occurred since September 2012. All right. That's crazy. But I'm pretty sure that also for, yeah, the mortality was way higher. Here, this thing says the corona mortality rate is to less than 1%. If it's, yeah, always have to, always to check on those things all the time. SARS, let's see, SARS mortality rate. Let's see. Too bad I cannot share with you the screen, otherwise we will look at together. Hmm. It's also very sad to see that the majority of cases of death, of all the death, are basically from 60 years old on, basically. The big the big numbers. Um, yeah. Where you guys at? Let's see. Where you guys at? I don't think the truth had anything to do with infected bats, because if I'm not mistaken, they always had to pass through another host animal to sort of bridge the gap to humans. So my feeling is that, guys, we have been here for half a million years, and this is probably not the first time. There are so many coronaviruses, which create other kinds of stuff, and this came out, and probably most, like I have trust in also in the human ability to adapt, and as you see the majority of people recovering, I honestly don't see that trend diminishing. I honestly think that that trend is going to continue to Cherokee in Georgia, U.S. Nice to see. Now, um, I think that trend of people recovering, it's gonna stay. Here, for those of you which are new to the chat, I'm gonna just give you this. I give you again the link to this meter, so that you can check the numbers yourself and have a little bit more of an insight in what is going on, so that you don't have to fear. In a moment of like really hotspot, or like like is happening in China, or like what happened in Italy in those villages, I mean, it's good if like for a week or so, people are a little bit quieter. I can totally understand that. Then everything slows down a little bit. We give the time also the people affected to recover, to find out also the people which they don't develop symptoms. So it's in that way it's pretty good. Yeah, Maggie, like only a small, very small percentage of people develops like um, a respiratory infection to the lungs. So, like I said, from the numbers that we have and that I checked, and the things that I'm listening, hearing from doctors, is that more than 80% of people affected by this COVID-19, they just recovered with no help, you know? Obviously, it's the people which they're less fragile, they're more fragile, they can develop the lung infection basically, and they need like, I don't know, like they have to put on respiratory, like aids or something like that. It would also be interesting to see because there's a lot of older people unfortunately passing away, sadly. It would be also important and interesting to see also what's the rate of recovery from the older people, that gives us a little bit of more clear idea on what is happening there. It's always strange, it's always strange. On one end, there is there is also this feeling of those things, you know, can also create a catalyst. Those things can also create a catalyst to work towards better solutions in the future. It can be also a catalyst for people to sort of a little bit wake up and and just work together more efficiently, cohesively, for whatever nature is going to throw at us in the future. Because if we would spend more resources and like we will be more attent to invest into research and science, more funds, and also uniting countries in those searches instead of always like the economy as the reason for economy to exist and as their own. We all rely on it in this system, and we all like are part of it, and we fuel it one way or another. And obviously it's not the best way we can go about as humanity. It's the way we have nowadays to keep the ball rolling. But events like this, they really bring into perspective also, yeah, what we can do in the future, how we should behave, what can we do better in order to like front confront a situation like this of danger, so I have hope that people like when they see these events like this, it might unite us more, and also like start to think of really what matters in humanity, and perhaps to invest a little bit more time in research. Ciao, Jorgen. Nice to see you. Organ failures. Yes, organ failures can happen from what I read, but only for people which they develop acute respiratory infection, which is a very small percentage of people. Again, people with a good immune system, probably they won't even know they get. It seems at least, that's what I read. They might not even develop the full symptoms, just mild symptoms. So let's say those 4 or 5 days in the house, relax, just stock up a little bit. If you don't have to do anything in particular outside, like maybe you just want to relax for a few days, just let this thing like sort of even out. And hopefully, with the summer season, with the spring, maybe it slows down. Because I also read like some scientists are saying, like, okay, this might become part of the flu season, so probably it's not going to go away. Um, but in that way, like if whatever slows down, at least we have time. People have time to create the vaccine for next time when we get into the next flu season, we are more prepared, and obviously we don't have to lose all the like more older people, which they're more susceptible to this kind of thing. So that's also important. Gaining time is very important. I see that this type of live, it's not super popular, of course, but I understood. I actually also wanted to do it a little bit for myself. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts with whoever came along here on the chat. So we're gonna keep it a little shorter, and perhaps I come back to do some fun stuff. Maybe we do a little bit of reactions instead. So I'll probably come back in 20 minutes with a different type of video. But I really just wanted to hear from you anywhere you are, from on this globe. and also share all the information that so far I know to just be a little bit more psychologically prepared. My personal feeling is that hopefully we will get through this like we have done with so many other things, and I truly hope and trust in the human ability to tolerate, adapt, and overcome. So I feel that this is not gonna be like crazy or something. Mattia, ciao, nice, Mattia, nice to see you. Like, ciao, bello. Non so se tu sei un subscriber, però mi fa piacere se hai trovato il live. I'm happy if you found the live just by chance. And I was just telling everyone, ciao, bello. I was just telling everyone about, like what's going on. I live in Amsterdam, io sono qua ad Amsterdam. eh, e c'ho famiglia, qualche familiare giù a Napoli, a Sorrento. So Mattia is from like you see, Mattia is from a yellow zone in the northern part of Italy, and he like me said that the majority older people dying, of the 100 people dying, they were all like suffering of cancer, cardiac problem, like heart problem, that kind of stuff. Um, sei di Verona? Lo so, it's stanno perdendo un po' la testa. Sorry guys, I just tell Mattia just for a second. Stanno perdendo un po' la testa con queste con questo con questo tipo di influenza, tipo, perché anch'io sto vedendo che la maggioranza dei dottori sono preoccupati, ma non sono preoccupati da un punto di vista che come si comporta la gente sembra quasi che sia una condanna a morte quando ti prende sta cosa, che ovviamente non è la verità. Mattia, I shared also with everyone this link here, which is gives the numbers, dai numeri esatti di quello che sta succedendo nel mondo, e magari è una cosa buona da tenere sotto controllo. It's a nice thing to keep under control. Um, so yeah, here in Amsterdam, so far so good. I see people are a little bit like like concerned. We I have a business. I import stuff from Italy, food from Italy to restaurants. So we are hoping also, of course, that things keep going here. That the the people keep going out and keep even if there is a little bit of decrease, but the still the thing still keeps going, because of course we all rely, my collaborators, me, my customers, they rely on people. So we're all in this together. So I hope that this thing doesn't influence very much everything else, because, yeah, we don't have anybody on top of us. You know what I mean? Like, as long as the government doesn't step in and help people. But yeah. Sì, Mattia, sono d'accordo con te. La 50 più di 50.000 persone già sono guarite e 30.000 persone infettate hanno sintomi lievi, quindi più dell'80% della gente ha sintomi lievi, non succede niente. I was telling Mattia that 80% of people just don't have very mild symptoms. So yeah, the media are doing a disservice in this way, because it's important to inform. It's truly important to inform and to follow like normal hygienes. Like the type of things that they're suggesting today. Like washing your hands for 20 seconds. Use a sanitizer with 60% alcohol in or 70% alcohol in. Avoid handshake. Maybe stay a little bit like a meter or so from other people in crowded area for this period. All like don't kiss with people for a period. Those are all things which they also help in the normal flu season, and you can avoid also to get a flu. You know what I mean? Because in this period you can also get a normal flu. So yeah, this is another things that I'd like to know, like how accurate those tests are, like how like how to the millimeters, so to speak. Can they see discern the difference from this coronavirus that causes the flu or something and this COVID-19 coronavirus thing? So, that's just, I wonder how accurate that is. If perhaps in there they're also misdiagnosed people with influences or something. But that I don't know. So I'm just speaking out of ignorance. Perhaps those tests are incredibly accurate. There is no potential for mistakes in terms of understanding which type of virus it is. And anyway, I'm like I said also many times in this video, I'm not trying to downplay. I'm just trying to first of all understand it and share common sense with my audience. So yeah. Yes, Afnan Kuzuma also said, eat well. If we have a good immunity, the virus won't infect us easily. That's true. Rest, sleep, eat well, train, work out, And I also, this is not official, but I was following this doctor that is doing updates on YouTube. He's doing daily updates or so on YouTube, and he's of course following the whole thing and all, numbers and so on and so forth. And he was saying that taking vitamin D, even though it's not advertising anything, taking vitamin D, it might be very important in this moment, because it seems to reduce infection and inflammation to respiratory problems. So, like, also stock up with good vitamin D. Take vitamin D right now. Be in the sun a little bit. Take vitamin D, and just rest and train, work out, eat well, and probably your strong immune system, will be fine. So it's very, very important. Yeah. Yeah, personally, I just look forward, in a couple of months or 3 months, whatever, or 5 months, when we can look back at this, like we overcome this and we can focus on better things. We can focus on the summer, we can focus on our personal growth of keep going on, or just enjoying our lives, instead of having this sort of like, especially in the past week, the more you follow the news, the more you have this like impending doom type of scenario, that it's really not nice. Ciao Mattia, grazie per essere passato di qua, mi fa piacere. Stay safe, fai attenzione ovviamente tu e i tuoi familiari, e magari ci becchiamo un'altra volta su un altro live chat. Passa una buona settimana. Ciao ciao, bello. I just say hi to Mattia that is leaving. Ciao Jack, that's right. Jack, how is everything going on there where you are, with this whole like feeling of the coronavirus thing? Nice. Tintin. Yes, take vitamin D. It's good. It's very important. Let's see if I got some message on the other social, some question or something. Let's see. Just give me a second. No, nothing new so far. That's right. Jack, you're making vlogs? Oh, nice. Nice. Then I'm gonna go check. I'm gonna go check some of your vlogs then. Why can I click on you? I cannot click on you. Then we have Jack there. Jack, that's right. Then we have to check what's going on with, that's right, the Jack over there. Show a little bit of support for his vlogs. If you posted already vlogs, I'm gonna go check them out after. Ciao, Kanama Ireno. We all gonna die once. That's true. I just put that title to attract a little bit of attention, also to make a little bit of joke with this panic thing. Um, yeah, it's quite nuts. It's really quite nuts. Sometimes you wish that like political leaders everywhere, they would just be more concerned with human advancement in terms of knowledge and science. you know Personally, I'm not a scientist, I'm an artist, but I'm totally for science in everything. Like, I'm for the truth. And to see a humanity, for instance, that it's busy by supplying the necessity of every human being, which will be like the normal necessity of a roof over your head, clean water, food, and then like the other social thing that we need, like interaction and affection and and art and whatever, and then just focus, like, instead of having to go to work, instead of having to create stuff to be sold by companies that they grow in the economy, like truly creating something different where every human being from birth can just explore his or her or whatever full potential of learning about life, learning about the universe, learning about all the mysteries and the things that we don't know yet, to move truly into a new direction. Like, we have a like I don't know when this is going to happen, but I feel like the sooner or later we have to transition into a new humanity, a humanity that it's not busy anymore with consuming and producing and hierarchies and power and countries and limitation and like the old paradigm of sort of masculinity, that guys enjoy power and they want to place of power and all that kind of jazz. But instead, like, create perhaps, like, dive divert that energy into competition towards finding out, studying, like developing, like all new techniques in research, and each one individual. Like, I always imagine we could become a little bit like, like Vulcan, so to speak. I'm not a great Star Trek fan, whatever, but I've always been amused by a little bit, not by the pragmatism of Vulcan, Spock people, but more by the fact that every individual seemed like to become 360 degrees human being creature with a full awareness, of the spectrum of knowledge of our universe. Like, just being aware of science, mathematics, and like also all the things going on uh, within. So to truly each individual become, so to speak, a superhuman, instead of everybody so individually focused, like, oh, one guy knows only how to screw the thing, another guy knows only this, and another woman knows only that. I see humanity moving in that direction, hopefully. Manuel MP, 1,500 deaths daily by malaria. I know. I mean, listen, if we start to look at the numbers, if we start to look at the numbers of everything that happens on these freaking planets every day, we would be shocked. But they don't talk about it because, yeah, it doesn't make news. Now this is the focus of the news, and it's gonna keep going. In Italy, 100 people, 107 people died of the coronavirus. Probably in this same week, thousands of more people died for other conditions. Who knows? Normal flu. Go figure. But yes, again, I'm not downplaying anything. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, have a little bit of common sense, and hope for the best, of course, because we are all here. We are all in this together. And I just hope for also for all of you to stay safe. And we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Well, anyway, guys, I was here for like 45 minutes This is not an incredibly popular live because I see the people, like probably they're, everybody's doing other things. Perhaps I come back, like, give me like 10, 15 minutes. I come back, we do some live reaction. We keep a little bit fun. We keep it a little bit more fun. Huh? How about that? Let's do that. All right, guys. So let me just say hi for a second. So we end this chat, and I'm the chat man. I'm the chat man. I will come back doing some live chat reaction with you. So we have a little bit of fun together, right? Okay, give me a second. Let's do that. I'll see you in a bit to whoever you that will come back. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Let's share right here the link again of the word meter. And I also want to write you, stay safe. Ah, look at that. I know how to write. It's incredible. Anyway, let me finish this stream, and I'm coming back with another stream just to have fun a little bit with reaction. See you in a bit. Always spread love. Huh? See you in a second. Ciao. 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 Why this thing doesn't work? Ciao.